Three. All right, this is your host, Tutashima Hedakayu, on the phone with brother GADULOMU, IMSETIYU. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, brother? You don't have to use the name yet because I know it's new.
Well, yes. I'm gonna use the name. My name is GADULOMU ZAYHURA IMSETIYU, and like I said, my background is business administration. I'm a student of economics. Um, my purpose in life is to hopefully teach the economic understanding for the masses, for the betterment of the people.
Mm-hmm.
We truly need to understand this thing that they call the dollar, how to properly use that tool that we so carelessly use on our day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And to really build on the understanding of what the dollar is, what does it mean, what is the tool actually used for, and how that power that you hold is being misused. You need to teach the proper use of this tool.
Right.
So,
And the way we keep spending it out of our communities, man. You know, the dollar only stay in the black community, boy, for like 2 minutes before it's gone.
somewhere, if that long, yeah, truly, if that long, if it even lasts that long, yeah,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you are the new Ministry of Commerce. And, because we do need help in that area and other areas too. But really, economics, commerce, business, we so far behind in this country. And I remember one of our previous conversations that it's really culture that ties everything together. Culture is the interlocking chain that holds things together. And because I watch and observe, one of my attributes is the great observer. I watch and I observe things for a while before I even come to a decision on something. And when I look, I don't want to judge all black people by what I see on YouTube and things like that, but we got to have our own gatekeepers, multimedia. You're not going to see some of the ratchet stuff happen in black community, in the white community. They're not going to allow that. You're not going to see some things happen in black community in the Asian community. They would be shamed and disowned if they did the sort of things that our people, yeah, you know what I mean? And other communities too, I can go down the line, but it's just not accepted. And in Nuwabu, it ain't accepted either. We don't disrespect ourselves to make other people laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like I see a lot of black comedians, even though I'm a fan of some of them, but do you have to disrespect yourself? I seen one brother disrespect his grandmother to try to make people laugh. I'm like, come on, bro. You're a talented man. You don't have to talk about your grandma lied to you and told you was Native American. And then when you went to go take the test, they said you was from Africa. He said, you lying bee. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, that's dope. Man, I've seen some buffoonery as well. It's funny that you mentioned that. I just saw a video of a brother disrespecting his elder for some views. He was sitting next to his grandma, and then all of a sudden he threw her in, he put her in like a
headlock.
Headlock. Yeah, he put her in like a headlock.
Come on, man.
Just to get some laughs, and I was just like, God, the behaviors, it's sad. It's a sad state, But I realized that the desensitized heart, that's a disease. That's a disease within the community. Our hearts have been so desensitized as far as how one carries themselves. There's no honor There's no feeling of I guess I want to put it like royalty or the etiquette. Like we've lost etiquette. We've lost so many things that we don't hold valuable anymore. That's why we lose the dollar so fast. We don't. There's no value on the things that we do.
Right,
We hold no
right.
value to no thing, and we celebrate it like it's to be celebrated. Like even the blowing the bag, the concept of blowing a bag of money. There's no value. We hold no value to nothing. And sickening. It's like this.
It is, man. Yeah, it is. It is sickening. Now I'm gonna read something from this book called The Nine Ball, which you're a citizen now, so I'm gonna send this to you. And this is
Okay.
like core reading, man. This is
Mhm.
this is where it all came from. Now this is count. It goes by counts. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 counts. So this
Mhm.
is count 1, like verse 6. It
Okay.
says, the Ethiopian race, which is the Moorish race, which is us, the Ethiopian race is confined in a prison of alien culture and buried in a grave of adverse ignorance. And this alone is enough to keep woolly haired people in captivity to enemy forces. So the booklet's entitled The Nine Bar, designed to help destroy the mental grave and prison limitations on the minds of the Ethiopians, that we will liberate from those who would keep us captive. The mental process is the road to liberation, and that mental process may scientifically be called mental liberation. The purpose of these booklets. Now, let me read verse 7 too. We Ethiopian scientists do not expect all woolly haired people to be receptive to nine reason and nine knowledge. Nine reason, nine knowledge, like the highest, nine is the highest number. So that's the highest level of reasoning. And through reasoning, the product is knowledge. So that's the highest knowledge one could attain.
Mhm.
It will take time for some to understand, and there are others who will neither understand nor care. But those amongst us who are intelligent by nature will understand, accept, and adhere. These are the ones we are searching for these are the survival and future of the Ethiopian race. No one can make another intelligent. A person must be born intelligent, and the intelligent among us are the only ones who can liberate self. No one can liberate a person. A person must liberate self by understanding, accepting, and following liberation knowledge.
So true.
Yeah,
So true.
yeah, those are powerful words, man. And in Amanubi, Dr. York wrote that. That was this book came out in 71,
Wow.
but I think he wrote it like in 67 or 68, and it finally came out.
Wow.
But this is why I tell everybody to, when you enter the nation, I give the book to you for free. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I'll
Because
give
it's
it to you.
needed.
Yeah, it's needed. It's to strengthen the mind and the soul. This book, it has to be read because this is what it's all about. It's not about religion or anything like that. It's really about
Mhm.
how to use the mind for
Mhm.
liberation. You know,
Mhm.
so this talk we're having today is very good because how can one liberate the mind if he's worried about paying his bills next month? He's
That.
worried about starving. So we have to start with economics, brother. That's why you're so important. My bad to keep talking, but what you have to say about some of the programs you have to offer to Nuwabians and also non-Nuwabians will help in the process of building the nation. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. The beginning. The beginning of the understanding is raising yourself high enough to know that you have the ability to do is within us. We don't have to accept the scraps that we're given. And a lot of us have become complacent with this, the lower information, lower vibrations. We become complacent in that realm, as though this is what we receive and this is all we'll get. And first mistake with money that people make like I said, is understanding the power. All currency have a backing. The U.S. dollar used to be backed by what we call the gold standard, and a lot of people don't understand what that really truly means. Like, you step into vocabulary, it's very important. Our focus is on the dollar when our focus should be on the commodity. The gold standard, that's a commodity. For the dollar to be backed by the gold standard, it was backed by a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you start using this word they call commodity, and you begin to understand what a commodity is, it opens your mind to nation building. Countries don't run off currency.
Mm-hmm.
No country runs off currency that they print. Okay? People do.
Right.
Country itself, the country as a whole works on the commodity basis. Everything that it does is around commodity, quote unquote, assets. Now, assets will be the second level, but the highest level is commodity. You know, the gold, the diamond, the silver, the platinum, the uranium, the oil, even on the farm level,
Mm-hmm.
the produce, the fruits. These are commodities. These are things given to God given.
Right.
These ain't things that man created. See, dollar is something that's man created. It's funny how the country as a whole focuses on God creation and the people focus on man creation.
Yeah. It's ironic.
So yeah, so you have to flip the script. You have to flip the switch in your mind to be God body. You have to understand on God. You have to mentally. You have to be on godly things.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order for us to increase our understanding of how the dollar works, we have to then focus on the commodities. Okay, this is what gives the dollar power in the first place. What does the U.S. have as commodities? As a country, the United States is operating off commodity.
Mm-hmm.
So when you realize that your dollar is attached to commodity, you can then begin to map out and strategize ways to accumulate more and more commodity. And that's where the strength lies. You know, as a nation, we look at ourselves like we have no power, no respect in the world, no culture. You know, a lot of these things come into place when we gain an understanding of self. Like you said, it's self-building. And once you begin to build self, you find others that are in the same realm. Eventually, you know, you attract others who think like you.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, like everybody, when they begin the journey, this is, you know, when you begin your journey of understanding self, at first you see him alone. You see him alone. You see him like the light comes on and he by himself.
Mm-hmm.
This is a natural thing because 9 times out of 10 you are. You know, it's a self journey. And
Absolutely.
then as you continue the journey, you begin to find others who are walking the same path.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where the coming together, and that's where the building begins. Once you begin to find the other like minds.
Right.
So
Right.
so the first step, like you were saying, you begin to build self mentally, because that gives you a deeper understanding of what's going on around you. We're all living on God's planet. We're all caretakers of this planet. God has given us things naturally for us to have dominion over. The book says it. You know, any
Mm-hmm.
book you read, whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Bible, whether it's the Torah, any spiritual readings you get into, we were created to have dominion. And so dominion over what? It's the commodity.
Mm-hmm. The
When it
earth.
comes to commerce, it's the earth. It's the earth itself is a commodity. It's not the dollar. It's not the euro. It's not the yen. It's not the BRICS currency. It's none of these. All of these things, these words that we use, these papers that we exchange, all are backed by something greater than what they are, and that is the commodity.
The commodity.
The country itself counts the people as a commodity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you realize that you yourself are also a commodity, then you begin to strive to understand how to work in the realm of building commodities and then assets, what they would consider assets. You know, then your dollar begins to become the power that you're looking for it to be. You know,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
so we have to understand. Okay, well, how do I take this dollar and begin to obtain commodities? But instead of continuing to obtain more dollars, how do I obtain more commodities?
Hmm.
How do
Right.
I build
Right.
and more commodities? Because just like I could go to Walmart and buy a pair of shoes or buy some clothes or buy some fruit, I could have took my money, that same money, and bought the company that creates the clothes. Could have
Right.
bought a farm that creates the food. I could have,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
you know,
Have your money working for you.
have my money working for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is the understanding that the nation itself needs to hold. It needs to begin to understand how to operate in the commodity realm.
Mm-hmm.
How do
Mm-hmm.
we put our funds together and go buy the gold mining company?
Right. Right. Right.
How do we put our minds together and our currency together to go buy the diamond mine company, to go buy the silver mining company, the copper mining company? You
Right.
know,
Right. Right. And that takes planning, saving, and investing.
investing.
Right. Because we could take a control of the company if we had enough investors,
Exactly.
right, on the board. So, and
Exactly.
then our kids could eat for generations off that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so it's the and then it's the thing, you know, when you get into business administration, when you go into college and you know they're giving you a breakdown of the economic system.
Mm-hmm.
There's two levels they have. It's called macroeconomics and there's microeconomics. Now, macroeconomics is the understanding of the commodity realm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called macro. It's large. You know, you have to think. It's telling you. You have to take your mind
Mm-hmm.
and think bigger than yourself. You have to think bigger than the moment that you're in. You have to think bigger than just the check that you receive and spending it on the micro level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As our community, we're stuck losing our money on the microeconomic level,
Right.
and for some reason we don't understand how to rise above it, and it's just a misunderstanding of how we are using our currency,
Mm-hmm.
especially the U.S. dollar, because we also have to remember that our currency as a country is no longer backed by a commodity. It hasn't been for years.
Right. Since Nixon, was it
Yeah,
70, 71?
we've been taking off the gold standard for years, which is why the dollar is in trouble now.
Mm-hmm.
See, all other countries All other countries, their currency is still backed by a commodity.
Right, right. The Russian ruble,
Right,
the Chinese been buying a lot of gold, and the Russians
right.
dumping U.S. treasuries and
Yes,
yeah, buying
yes,
gold.
yes. When you hear that, oh, the dollar is failing, the dollar. This is why our currency has no commodity backing.
Hmm.
The people are the commodity.
Right, right,
Okay, so it's a gift and a curse because what it does for us, it allows us to reverse, to flip the switch. If we as a people begin to take our currency and back ourselves, we back our currency with the commodity,
hmm hmm
with our own commodities that we invest. That's where our power lies. Because he took it away, that doesn't mean that we can't still purchase commodities with this US dollar.
right. That's the first thing we need to
That's
think
the
about.
first thing. Exactly. That's the first thing we need to do. We
Hmm.
need to find a way to once again have our currency being backed by a commodity instead of just continuing to be a currency with no backing. Money spent, money
Right.
spent, money consumed, money consumed. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. No plan. I mean, brothers and sisters really don't have a plan. But when they get the money, what you gonna do with it? Because I'll watch these YouTube videos. I guess people on TikTok will upload these videos and they'll kind of clip them together and make their own video. And people complaining about not being able to find a job or the job's not paying enough. And they've especially the younger generation, they kind of feel like, well, things have gotten more expensive, so I can kind of feel what they're talking about. But it's a culture thing, man. We didn't teach our children to start a company, invest in something. Oh, go to school and get a good what? Get a good job, and that's where most of it ends. Well, wealthy people tell their kids, yeah, you go to college, get that type of education, but go there to get networking connections. So when you start your business, you'll have some help in the industry to be successful.
hmm
You know,
hmm
so
that's one of the things. Yes,
hmm
that's definitely one of the things that they do.
hmm hmm so
And
so
go
I'm
ahead.
my bad. So I'm just like, we need to do more of that. We need to do more. Teaching our children is, because the labor market goes up and down just like every other market,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
and things get saturated. Like going to college, uh, that's basically saturated. Everybody got a degree now. It ain't nothing like it was
hmm
back in the day. So, where does, I listen to like Warren Buffett. He said when
hmm
everybody's into something, it's too late.
hmm
you didn't you
Exactly.
didn't get there early enough. So
Early enough.
Right. So
True.
everybody's jumping on crypto, and I was on the
hmm
crypto too, and I sold all my coins because the market just kept going up and down, and I didn't really see why it was going up and down. It seemed like a pump and dump
hmm
type thing. I'm like, well, there's no really value in it, really.
hmm
So, and I figured I'm in it while everybody else is in it. I'm not going to make any money because I didn't come in low enough. You know what I
hmm
mean? So. But anyway, I don't want to get off track about about
Right.
the financial education and investing,
Right.
but you
But it
know,
was a great point. That was a great point that you made when you said it. The thing that came to mind was the fact that the United States as a whole, like I said, uses people as the commodity. And when you dip into that realm, there are people with good paying jobs and there are people who are homeless. Now,
mm,
if the whole populace itself is used as a commodity,
hmm
the homeless percentage or the people who are barely getting by, that percentage of people will be counted as the most useless commodity, I guess. I hate to put it that way. But
Okay.
you're more. It's like okay, like they use the clarity for diamonds. You know, different levels of clarity,
Yeah.
and so the highest clarity on that level, when using the populace as a commodity, will be those who are the quote unquote millionaires and people who are kind of well off, the middle class. You know,
Mm-hmm.
their clarity is a little higher than those who are struggling. So
Right.
the struggling commodities, you get lost in the collective. You get lost in the collective,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what gives us the volatile market that we had. We're backing our dollar off the commodity of the populace. Now, when you're backing it off the commodity of what God gave us, that value is always strengthened because this is now based off of God given commodity. It's not the people. People come and go.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
some live, some die every day.
Right.
So that number, that actual value is hard to measure when your commodity is based off the people. But when it's based off of the natural given resource, that value that's limitless. That's why initially the dollar was based off the gold standard in the first place, because it's gold. It comes from the ground. It's something that God gave us. It wasn't something that's man-made. So the value of that is limitless, because gold gonna be here when the people continue to pass away. Gold still gonna be here. Silver still gonna be. It was here before we got here. It's gonna be here when we leave. So what we have to do is we have to focus on taking this dollar that's backed by the people and turn it into a dollar that's backed by a commodity. And that's where the power will lay in the hands of the people.
Mm-hmm.
When we begin to accumulate more commodities as a nation, the country itself is going to begin to look at this nation like, hold on.
Right. 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 What they doing? What they doing with this money over here? It was, how are they able to build this stuff?
How are you able to do this?
Yeah.
And the thing is they're not stopping us. They know that the information is there. We're just refusing to delve into it.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
one living in the United States is stuck to the U.S. currency.
Right. Right. There's a currency exchange.
It's the currency. You got currency exchange. You could go turn your U.S. dollars into euros. You can go turn it into yen if you so choose. You can turn your currency into whatever it is that your mind can conceive of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
We don't have that understanding. We're not living in that realm of economics.
Right. Right. We're not even players in the game.
We're not players in the game. And yet we sit back and we continue to complain about the status quo of what's going on around us.
Right. Right.
I call it spectator syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
We're stuck spectating.
Right.
We're not stuck spectating. We're choosing to be spectators. It's a choice. We're choosing to
It's a
be
choice. That's right.
spectators.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're complaining about the status quo that comes about from this spectating. You're watching all these other cultures around you use their dollars, use their currency to gain more commodities.
Right. Right. Right.
And as they continue to do that, we're watching these cultures become stronger and stronger and more powerful economically.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, well, where do we begin? How do we start? How do we change that? And The change comes from every household understanding what macroeconomics truly is. We don't have an understanding of macroeconomics.
Mm-hmm.
We barely have an understanding of microeconomics. But
Right.
every day
Right.
you walk out the house and you go buy gas for your car, and you go buy food to put into your refrigerator, the clothes that you put on your back, you know, the bills that you pay for your house to keep the roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
This is all realms of microeconomics.
Oh,
That's
okay. Okay.
microeconomics, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to rise above the micro and step into the realm of macro, step into the realm of actually putting the power behind the currency,
Right. 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 Right.
taking it off the backs of the people and actually putting it onto what it was created to do, what it was created for in the first place. The dollar was created to be backed by a commodity, not by the people.
Mm-hmm. But
So they've given us unknowingly, unwittingly, they've given us the power to do that. We just have to learn how to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
We have to focus our minds, focus our brain power on how to make that transition. How do we as a whole, how do we come together as a whole to create a macroeconomic situation for ourselves and the people around us? Because everybody in the United States can operate in macroeconomics.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person walking can operate in the state of mind of macroeconomics. There is
They.
nothing stopping you. There is no magic laws. There's no gatekeepers keeping you out. You just have to choose
Right.
to do this thing with your dollar. Understand the actual power of the dollar that you spend.
Right. 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 That's what uh, Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about,
Mm-hmm,
investing in manufacturing, and he said, learning to
mm-hmm,
manufacture, most
mm-hmm,
things that you need as a people,
mm-hmm,
and then when you mentioned about, we just don't know about macro economics, it makes me think of Robert Kiyosaki.
mm-hmm.
No, United States doesn't teach any. There's no financial education. Everybody's getting an
Education.
F, and
Mm-hmm,
in financial education. And
mm-hmm,
before I even heard of Robert Kiyosaki, when I was about 30, I started watching like CNBC.
mm-hmm,
Um, the job that I worked at, a lot of people were, you can get company stock.
mm-hmm.
So I would kind of look into getting company stock, and I started, researching like mutual funds and watching
Right.
things.
Hedge funds. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Options.
yeah, options. There's a Hindu guy who used to talk about options all the time, and
Mm-hmm,
it kind of, it intrigued me somewhat. So I wasn't a big investor back then, but I
mm-hmm,
was getting educated off CNBC, starting conversations with
mm-hmm.
people about finances, and people open up to you and just start talking about what they invest in. You know, you can learn a lot from just talking with somebody, and then actually, doing research. Get a
Mm-hmm.
book. Getting a book about investing. And how you think about money. Like Rich Dad Poor Dad. When I read that, it flipped my whole mind how I thought about money.
Yeah, mine too. Also, really. I'm a fan of Robert. I'm a fan of Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, man. So it made me think twice about it, and you know, so it's a lifelong journey, especially if your parents never talked to you about investing. And you know,
Right,
my dad talked about it a little bit, but he wasn't like a mate. Nah, my dad really didn't invest. He kind of got the money and spent it.
right,
But
right.
my dad was working on computers, like people's computers, like in 1990,
Mm-hmm,
like way back in the day when PCs were kind of first coming into people's homes. My dad had a side business fixing computers, and
mm-hmm.
since he didn't have the entrepreneur mind, he had an employee mind. He just went back to work.
Right.
and he could have made millions of dollars
Wow.
guaranteed because no one was in the game back then. It was like
Mm-hmm.
Comp USA. There was a couple other little small computer companies. We could have wrecked shop, but my dad had the employee mindset. Oh, I want a hustle thing, but hustling ain't the same as managing a company resource. It's not the same as investing. It's not the
Right.
same as investing in the gold and silver and land.
Right.
That's big boy stuff. You
Right.
talking about big,
Second level.
right?
Right.
Second level, higher level than
Mm-hmm.
just an
Mm-hmm.
employee.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just an example I kind of use because I'm like, that was a perfect opportunity. But opportunities are always there. You just got to have enough knowledge to see the opportunity.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings me back. It makes me think about the dynamic of the household.
Yeah.
Now, you have households where, people with children, they give them chores and then they pay them an allowance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were talking about financial education not being taught in the schools, and clearly it's not being taught in the homes. And this is where we need to make that change. If we
Right.
begin to
Right.
teach our children what macroeconomics is and how to play what they say, like we were saying the other day, talking about the game of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that convo. Yeah.
You know, instead of allowing our children to play the video game or watch the YouTube channels, basically waste their time when they
Mm.
come home from school. They're wasting their time, and yet some children receive an allowance, and they take that allowance and they get right into the same realm that a lot of adults are stuck in. And it's a learned behavior. Children who
Mm-hmm.
receive an allowance is free money because, like I was saying, technically, yeah, you pay your child an allowance, but you still, as a parent, you're still handling all the needs of this child. You still housing, you still provide the clothing on their backs, and you still provide the food that they eat, and you pay the bills that keep the lights on in the house. So now this child that's receiving an allowance is basically receiving a currency, and he doesn't know what to do with it properly. Now, if we had a financial or economic teachings uh, uh, system going in the household, you sit your child down and you begin to teach your child what commodities are, what the marketplace is, how to put your money into these commodities, and we culture that. We raise that level of understanding in our kids. Your children, when they say the children are the future, your children will begin to master this craft of commodity because they have nothing but time.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be
Yeah.
using that time and the allowance that they get to begin to understand the commodity, how to purchase, how to, and by
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
time that they even reach graduating from high school, he won't even need a job. He won't need a job because from the age of 10 or 11 or whenever you began to give him this allowance, he was using that money to actually invest.
Right. Right.
There's
Right.
no age limit on investing. Your chil- your children,
That's
your
right.
children, your children are actually the next financial warriors, and we're not preparing them for that.
Mm-hmm.
We have this thing that a lot of melanated households have this thing. Once you turn 18, you grown. You gotta go. You're on your own.
Yeah.
But
We ain't
you,
gonna tell
you
you nothing.
never
Just get out of here.
right. But you never giving them the tools that they're gonna need
Mm-hmm.
to actually play in that realm once they leave your household. And then you find the kids that always come back, the 2021 to 23. Now they've got to stay with mom and dad because they haven't figured it out. They haven't, we're setting ourselves up for failure when we can actually restructure the whole game. We can actually, the game that we play, we can actually restructure this
Mm-hmm.
if we implement these things. You know, I can remember going to school at a time, there used to be a stock market class where we would get the paper and
Oh
we
yeah, I
had,
did that senior year.
you
Yep.
remember the assignment, you get the paper,
Mm-hmm.
you find the stock, you know, you invest in the stock, and then we watch this stock as the weeks go by.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
I
I'm
remember
pretty
that.
sure they're not doing that in class anymore.
Mm, that's a
I'm
shame.
pretty,
That's a
and that's,
shame,
it
man.
really is, it truly is a shame.
It's a
You
shame.
know, but that's where we need to pick up
Right. Right.
in our
Yeah.
households. We need to have these economic discussions. A lot of things that's going on in our community will begin to change when we actually become players in the community. You know,
Absolutely, man.
if you're not being an advocate in your community, how can you complain about what's going on around you if you're not taking the steps to put yourself in position to be able to change what's going on around you? If you continuing to spectate, you can't
Mm-hmm.
complain about what's going on
Right.
because
Right.
you're watching. You can't complain about Michael Jordan putting up 40, 50 points if you're sitting in the stands watching. You should be on the floor trying to stop him. you
Right.
need to be
Right. You gotta get.
you
You
need
gotta
to be
work
on the
hard. You
floor
gotta get in
trying
the
to stop
game.
him from scoring his 40, 50 points.
Right.
You can't
Right.
go home as a fan like, oh man, Jordan just dropped 60 on us. No, he didn't
Mm-hmm.
drop 60 on you. He dropped 60 on the five men who were actually on the court playing the game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, we gotta get in the game, man. I mean, you said it right, and I think a thing to add is if you don't get educated, you're gonna get taken advantage of. The
Every
opposite.
time.
It's like you said, you gotta be a financial warrior. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta have a game plan. Because these people out here, when you walk in this, I know in L.A. and some of the a lot of black neighborhoods, it's Koreans that own the stores.
Yes.
Even in some Mexican neighborhoods, it'd be Koreans and
Yes.
Vietnamese and other ethnicities actually running the stores, and
Mm-hmm.
and to me, that's just a sign of like financial ignorance.
Yes.
You know what I
Very
mean?
much so.
That's your
Very much
neighborhood.
so.
Why is foreigners owning liquor stores in your neighborhood? Indians too, Hindus. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, there's all kind of pitfalls and traps out there, but you got to be motivated enough to listen to the information because I didn't get taught financial information either. But
Mm-hmm.
as we just read in the Nine Ball about 20 minutes ago, a
Mm-hmm.
person is born intelligent.
Yes.
So you start looking around you. So I mean, you're young, so but you got to be curious about something like, man, how could I get this money without getting in trouble, or could I
Right.
get it without stressing that somebody gonna come rob me because I did something to their homeboy or something like that? How could we get into
Right.
legitimate business?
Right.
Because when George Bush Jr. goes home at night, he not worried about who's gonna come in his house. Or he might, but
Right.
but for the most part, I don't think he's worried about who's coming to kill me tonight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to get into legit business, and people don't do business with other people they don't respect. So we need to get our respect back as a people. You know, or so-called black people. Um, got to get their respect back. And that kind of looks bad upon Nuwabians sometimes because they'll put us. They'd like to put us all in the same pot.
Same
all
category. Yeah.
all the tribes. If you got
Mm-hmm.
dark skin, or I call it heavenly hued skin. If you got heavenly hued skin, you guys are all the same. No, we're not all the same. Just like you're not all the same, but we get categorized that way. You know what I mean? And I
That,
don't want to. I don't want to go into something else, but you got to correct people about
mm-hmm.
your identity. But because with new identity comes new opportunity.
Yes.
It comes new opportunity. When I
Yeah.
fully felt like I was a Nuwabian, fully felt, not just on paper. I really felt like a Nuwabian. I would proudly wear my medallion, and I wouldn't care what anybody said. But I think the positive energy that I put out, people would start asking, "Hey, what's that medallion? What does it say?" And it's this medallion I'm wearing it right now. It says Elion Elion All. That's the Most High in the Hebrew. So, and then the symbols, and people become interested. I don't care if you're what nationality. I've had a German woman come, "Oh, what is that?" And I have to, and I break it down for her. I don't tell her everything, but I break it down to her. I know what I'm talking about. And she's like, "Oh, that is so fascinating. That's so fascinating." So, same, well, economics too, that all ties in, because when people do business, depending on what culture you are, now if you go see the chief of the Hausa tribe, right, your culture usually brings gifts, like a cultural gift when you're doing business. When you go to Korea, the Koreans give gifts for doing business. It's an opportunity to do business with other people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, and don't look for that other person to get you rich off one deal.
Right.
It's not like selling dope. You know what I'm saying? You can get a brick and go sell some dope. I'm balling, but good things take time. Yeah.
All good things take time,
Right.
and like you were saying, when you was speaking about the Nuwabian, what came to my mind was the saying, "As a man thinketh, so he shall be." Your
Right.
actions. As when we begin to think on a higher realm, when we begin to operate macroeconomics, we begin to operate in the realms of honor and etiquette, and actually having value for self and the things that we do each day. Actually having a value and understanding that value. The perception of others around us, it begins to change, because they have to look at us now like, okay, now they're playing the game. Now
Right.
they're beginning
Right.
to learn what's really going on. Now they're beginning to be a part of the world change. The world, we come from, you remove yourself from the spectator realm, and you actually now you either become a coach or you become a player.
Right.
You become a GM. You become you begin to
Right.
you
Look
begin
at
to
the
place
whole
yourself
picture.
right. You begin to
Yeah.
place yourself in this position, and they have to receive it. Like, we're looked at the way that we are because as a whole, we're not playing the game. We're not playing the game. We're spectating, and then we're getting upset because those who are observing us are observing that we're just spectators,
And they take advantage.
and they take advantage.
That's right. Yeah.
They take advantage. Jay-Z said it best in one of his songs, the OJ story. He said, "Rich nigga, poor nigga, still nigga,
Still a nigga.
still nigga."
Yeah.
You know, uh, that's because they look at, like, when it's the etymology of the word nigga. It's ignorant.
Ignorance. Yeah.
Like we're ignorant to the game being played. Our focus is on a dollar, a currency, when our focus needs to be on the commodity. The
Right.
currency really holds no value
Holds no value. Yeah.
without the commodity.
Right. Right.
No currency on the planet holds value without a commodity backing.
Right. That's why you got to make a budget to buy the commodity with the currency that you get.
That you get. We're we're giving our currency away constantly.
Yes. Yeah, we are, man. It don't make no sense. And when you talked about, the dollar, people are dying for a dollar and really don't even know what a dollar is.
Right.
Don't know how to use it, just want it. You want more of it, but you don't know how to use it.
Use it. And it's funny that you say that, because we're dying for a dollar and countries go to war over commodities.
Right. Land, water, gold.
Right. Right.
Right, yeah.
Countries go to war over commodities, and here we are as a people fighting over a dollar.
A damn paper with some ink on it.
Whole wars are being fought. Bombs and planes are being dropped. Soldiers are being placed on the ground. Navy ships are shipped out. All this happens over commodity, and yet we're stuck in our communities fighting over $1.
$1, man. Yep. Or trying to buy some hot car or some clothes. I mean, it's cool to have some clothes, but invest in the commodity first. Use the money you make
Right,
from the commodity to buy the clothes.
right, and that's the thing. Nothing is stopping us from buying commodities. There is nothing stopping us from being able to buy the commodity. You know why? Because the
Hmm.
United States of America, this is the next breakdown that people need to understand. The United States of America is an organization.
Right.
It's a
It's a
business.
corporation. That's right.
It's a corporation. So even those who get lost in the laws of the land, I'm gonna give you a key today. If you listen to if you take nothing else away from this, understand the biggest law on this land is business law. Business law.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
United States is a corporation. Each state in the United States is ran as a corporation. So the state that you live in, the state of Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
that's a corporation. The state that I live, California, every
Corporation.
state
Yep.
is a corporation and
Yep.
it's ran as a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Schools are ran by business law. Churches are ran by business law. Everything around you is ran by business law.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
that's
Yeah.
because, once again, the United States is playing the big boy game of macroeconomics. There is no business if there is no commodity. There is no
Mm.
US dollar if there is no commodity. So why fight for $1 when we should be fighting and dying for the commodities that are being fought for on a daily basis?
It's a good question. That's a good question.
The commodities are being fought for on a daily basis. The president of the United States, his whole seat is how to continue to bring the commodity to the United States, and how, you know,
Yeah.
that's where his realm of mind. When he goes to work every day, he's thinking commodity.
Right. Right.
He's not thinking dollar. He's thinking commodity.
Mm-hmm. How could we use the dollar to get more commodities?
Right. How do we bring more commodities? How do we produce more commodities ourselves? And how do we bring more commodities to our corporation?
Mm-hmm.
Not dollar. We don't
Right.
care
Right.
about
Right.
dollar. Dollar means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It truly means nothing.
Right. Right. Especially when it's losing its value every day.
You know?
More of its value. Yeah.
Yeah, it means nothing. So we have to ask ourselves, what are the commodities? How do we obtain the commodities? We don't have to leave that decision up to the president himself. We as a nation, we as a people can begin to obtain our own commodities. We can
Right.
begin to produce our own commodities.
That's right. That's right. We can.
We just have to step in the realm of commodities and not currency.
Mm-hmm.
Change your C. Change the C in your mind. When you look at your dollar, look at it as a commodity, or a tool to obtain commodity. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. It's a tool to be able to obtain commodity.
That's right.
When you speak upon the Asian cultures or the Mexican cultures or the Indian cultures and how they own blocks and neighborhoods, and you reach a place and it'll be Chinatown, or you'll reach a place and
Mm-hmm.
it'll become, you in a Mexican-owned area, because you'll start to see the signs in all Spanish, and
Right.
they're
Right.
able to do these things because they own commodities as a
Mm-hmm.
culture.
Food, buildings. You know.
Yeah, they're
Mm-hmm.
buying commodities and assets. Like I said, commodities is the first level. Asset will be the next level.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think in currency. They don't think in dollar. They don't think. You know, they don't think in peso. They don't think in yen. They think in commodity and asset.
Right, right.
So if we're going to play the game, we are going to have to gear our minds to step into this realm because it's there. It's not hard. None of these things are hard because there is no difficulty in any of these things. You just have to have the information to be able to manifest these things.
Right.
And the
That's why.
information is not hidden.
Right.
It's not some guarded secret. It's not some, you know, it's all in how you use your mind every day. Like you said, from the knock, the intellect, your intellectual power.
Yeah, yeah. We got to have a school or something. You know, I know we talked about that. Set up, you know, something formally for Moors. You know what I mean? Because I think Moors look at it as, oh, that's a Caucasian thing, or that's a, some of our people be thinking. And if we show that we have a whole school, you know, online or physical that you can come to, people teaching the class look like you can relate.
Right.
You may be more motivated or more apt to come to the class and actually learn.
I agree. I agree. And that's the stance that we need to take as a whole. Like if your household is not having economic discussions, you're continuing the quote unquote generational curse. You
Yeah,
know,
for real, yeah.
if we're not talking economics in our home, if we're not, and that's the thing too. I know a lot of people don't even have the understanding or don't want it. So that's why it's not in the home. But you know, if your mind is strong enough, you can be that change for your family, and that's where it lies. You know, every family tree has that one fruit that's ready to flourish.
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
it's a saying that I have. As a fruit, you don't get to choose the tree that you come from. You do get to choose what kind of fruit that you want to be.
Right, right.
You can either be a great delicious fruit, or you can continue to be a spoiled fruit, a rotten fruit. But one day you're gonna fall from that tree and become a tree yourself.
Right, right, right. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it goes back to the intellect. It goes back to the mind with the capability for you to be able to change the circumstance. You might not like the tree that you come from, but you can still choose to be the fruit that you are and grow from there. So it begins with gaining the understanding and then implementation. When you begin to have children, make sure that you're having an economic discussion in your household.
Yeah.
Make sure that when you're giving your kids these allowances, make sure that you're teaching them what to do with this currency. They have the time. Even if you just give them a little bit of information and let them go from there. Allow them to explore from there. They have nothing but time on their hands throughout the day.
Right, right. They ain't got no
You
job.
see, they have no job. They have no bills to pay. They have no major responsibilities. So they're in the free realm of actually taking your currency and moving it to the next level. Because they have the time to study. They have the time to learn about. And then when they get into the realm of commodities, it'll actually become fun obtaining
Right. Properties and
properties
yeah,
and
businesses.
they'll begin, they'll be doing things that no other generation has ever done. This is
Right,
your
right.
next. This is the key. Teaching our children how to be the next level investors, the next level financiers, because we're going to, just like all the old money that died and went away, Rothschild and,
Yeah,
the
Cecil
billion,
Rhodes and
yeah, the
the
billion,
diamond guys and yeah, in Africa.
right. The billionaires before us,
The DuPonts and
right.
Carnegie's, yeah.
That's what they did. They taught that when they were giving their kids, they didn't just leave money down. They
Right.
taught their children about commodities. That's why their children operate in commodities. That's why the billions are still in their hands, because their children are operating on the commodity level.
Right.
Commodities,
Right.
they don't think in dollars.
Right. Right. I remember it was a History Channel show called "The Men Who Built America." I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's a good documentary, man. It talks about Thomas Edison. It talks about J.P. Morgan and his
Mm-hmm.
father, who was a banker from Europe, moved to America. He had
Mm-hmm.
J.P. Morgan doing bank ledgers at 8 years old.
Right.
So by the time J.P. Morgan hit 18, 19, he was ready to take over the world.
Whole world. You get what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And that's what we have to do. These are small things. It's so
Right.
simple
Mm-hmm.
to sit back and go over macroeconomics in your household. The currency that's going on in the countries around. It's an international level. We all
Mm-hmm.
live at the end of the day. We're all stuck on this thing that we call Earth. The billions of people, you know,
Right,
the billions
yeah.
of people you might seem detached from, but we're all stuck on this globe. So this globe is actually a fishbowl in the universe. So if what we have is all that we have, we need to properly understand how to use what we have. And the dollar is not that. The dollar is not that's man created.
Right, right, right.
We have to look at our God-given resources. This is the true
Absolutely.
value. This is the true value of what we hold. What God has given us.
Mm-hmm.
What God has given us.
All right. He gave us plenty of sustenance, right? That's what it says in the Bible. It gave us plenty on the earth.
Right?
Right.
And he told us to be fruitful and multiply this same resources. He didn't say be fruitful and multiply the dollar. He said be fruitful and multiply these resources that I have given.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's our job, as human beings to take care of the earth. We got the power to do it,
Exactly.
Got to exercise that power, and some people can see it, some people can't, but it's up to the teachers to teach the people. And
Yes.
I don't think enough so-called black teachers have stepped up, to teach the people, exactly what's going on. And, that kind of leads into another conversation of how many sellout black people there are, man. If we didn't have any sellouts, we would probably be okay. But since we have so many sellouts that want to protect the Caucasian and his empire, it's kind of hard to do the right thing. Sometimes it's easier to do the wrong thing, than do the right thing. Because even if you make it off the street and you go to college and something like that, then you get sucked into like a Greek fraternity, and you start to look at other black people like they ain't nothing because they didn't go to college. They're not educated Negroes, so you look down upon them. You give more praise, to your Caucasian master than you give to your fellow man. People of who look like you. So,
Right.
Stephen Coakley pretty much busted that wide open with his research. Rest in peace, Stephen Coakley. But yeah, that's the greatest hindrance. Yeah, because Malcolm even talked about it. Yeah,
One of it is one of there is a system in place. It's a recruitment system. They recruit. Like you said, it's a
Right.
recruit. They recruit
Right.
those who are coming from nothing. And like I said, they hold us in this understanding of microeconomics or the dollar. Our whole focus be on this dollar. And when you're dealing with a person who's never had a mass amount of dollars, and now they're coming into a situation where it's here you go, you pledge your allegiance to us, and here go all these dollars for you. But what I want you to do is never look at the commodity.
Right.
Don't think about commodities. And because now you having all these dollars, everybody below you who's striving to obtain this level, you know, look down upon you because they haven't reached it yet. We'll keep them from reaching it, and you pledge your allegiance to us, and we'll give you all the dollars you want. Where they're able to give you all these dollars that you want because they print it. They have the print machine. It's man-made.
Right.
But don't you, in order for you to have this allegiance with us, don't you dare look at the commodity system. Don't you dare think on the macroeconomic system. So
Right.
when we begin to switch our thinking, that whole system will begin to crumble. When every household can understand macroeconomics, that system begins to crumble now. Because now we're not looking to hold allegiance to a dollar. We know that the dollar is worthless. The dollar is worthless. What you're feeding me, what you're trying to give me, that's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of millionaires and billionaires begin to realize that once they reach that level. That's why their lives be so sour and so poor. They realize they're steep. They begin to realize I have everything, yet I have nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you have everything that you want in life and still feel that you have nothing?
Wasn't what they thought it was gonna be.
Right. Because the dollar never had value. It was never meant to have value. That's why it was backed by the gold standard in the first place. The gold was the value.
Right.
And when Nixon took that away, you know, the people became, like I said, the people, him taking the gold away placed the people as the standard, as the commodity.
The labor of the people, yeah, that's right.
Right. So it became a disjustice, yet it became a double-edged sword. Because Nixon, in his hindsight or in his foresight or whatever you want to call it, didn't realize that one day a generation will come and grow to understand that the dollar has no value, and we will begin to focus our energies on obtaining commodities. You know, they thought this charade of microeconomics will forever last. But once we begin now to understand what macroeconomics is, we become different. It's a different piece on the board. It's like taking a pawn all the way to the other side of the chessboard, and now I want a queen. Now I want a rook. Now, you know, my pawn has finally reached the other side, and I can turn it into anything that I want it to be.
Right. That's when you get there, though. You gotta stay in the game to get there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Can't give up.
Yes. We have to continue. We have to place ourselves in the realm of I refuse to be a pawn.
Right. Because my dad always said this. He said, if you don't have a plan, they're gonna have one for you.
Right. And we're choosing to be the pawns.
Right.
And they allow them to move us as they will. But
right.
The pawn is a dynamic piece on the board. To some chess players, a pawn can be useless or useful. Because a pawn can be used to checkmate you as well. But the way we think, we're looking to use the queen, the rook, the bishop, the knight,
the horse, the knight,
we're trying to use all these other pieces for this checkmate when actually the most powerful piece on the board is the pawn. It's the only piece on the board that can actually change this. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It can actually.
It got the most potential.
Right.
Yeah, it got the most
potential. The pawn has the most potential on the board. All these other pieces are stuck in the realm that they are. A queen is a queen.
Right.
So when you lose that queen and your queen is now off the board, it's lost.
Right.
It's gone.
You lose that
Once
power,
you lose the knight, it's gone. Once you lose your rook, it's gone. Once you lose your bishop, it's gone. The pawn is the only piece that has the potential to become anything it wants to be.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to remain a pawn forever.
No, no, you do not. You
Yeah.
don't have to remain a pawn forever.
Right. You can grow and develop, learn, study, and it's
Right.
really, about the future when you're. I mean, yeah,
Right.
you can take some of the benefits while you're living, but it's really
Mhm.
the greatest honor a parent can do for the child is leave them something after they pass away.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And but I think here in this country, they've actually normalized leaving nothing.
Yes.
They've normalized that. I mean, even
Yeah.
in poor villages in Asia, Africa, and India, it's still an honor to leave something, for the next generation. But over here, I think we're so individualistic and selfish and whiny and all those other attributes that I think we don't even know what the big picture is. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We don't even know what it is. I was watching a documentary about Chicago and the gangs and stuff in Chicago. And it was a European Caucasian guy he did the interview, right? So he walked in one of the projects and he interviewed a brother. He was probably like 28, and he said
Hmm.
something that just shocked me, brother GADULOMU, because he said we forgot how to raise children.
Yes.
He said we forgot. We don't even know how. So we just
Right.
it's a blank spot there. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's a
You know.
gap.
And
It's a major gap.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe, how do you forget how's your life so chaotic that you forget how to raise children, even the women?
Hmm. Hmm. We've forgotten how to protect the most precious things that we have, and
Yeah.
it leads me to a saying that I have as well. Uh, there is no title greater than father and mother. There is
Mm-hmm.
no greater
Mm-hmm.
title that you can receive in your life
Mm-hmm.
than father and mother. I don't care if you're billionaire, millionaire, CEO,
Right.
scientist, PhD, all these titles that we wake up and put our pride into falsely. The greatest title that you can hold as a being on this planet, as a human being on this planet, is father and mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because the most precious commodity that you hold are your generations that you create. Every person is either a mother of a nation or a father of a nation. So when you step into this realm, you step into this understanding that you are, my brother, a father of a nation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a different power. That's a different understanding.
Right.
You know,
Right. That's you. That's a part of
that's
you,
you.
literally. I
That's
mean,
a
that's
part. That's who you are.
right. You're not by yourself. You're linked into reality.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
your children, the neighborhood that you live in. I mean, you're all connected. Everybody should be interested in other people's successes, because if
Mm-hmm.
your network is successful, you are part of that network. You're going to be
Exactly.
successful too.
Exactly.
So this individual thing that they've set up, it's really detrimental. But then the people on top hang together. You know,
Right. And
they
that's what I'm gonna
form
say. That's because they know divided we fall, together we stand.
stand. That's right. That's right.
And
Yes.
that's why the division is there. The division is in the church, the division is throughout our community, division
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is their most sacred weapon.
That's right. Yeah, they use that to control the masses.
Division, division, division.
Mm-hmm.
Division is their most sacred weapon. Because as long as we're divided, we can't come together to get command.
Right.
We'll never be able to come together and actually begin to obtain command. The games
Mm-hmm.
that they play, we'll never join.
Right. 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 That's why we want people to join the nation. Because we, you know, we can't do it all by ourselves. We
Yeah.
need like people. We need like in the nine ball. We need the leaders of the nation at least to be intelligent people who can convey the message to other people that don't have the leadership skills, or they don't have the heart of a leader, but they'll be astute students and to carry out the mandate of the nation, which is to grow, is to spread and to grow, get into economics, not only just the spiritual realm, but we got to live on the physical realm too, to keep this
Well,
thing going. And
yeah.
and this is why forming a nation is essential, because we're living under colonist rule.
Right.
As we speak, I know people are like, oh, I'm an American, but what really is an American? you know
Right.
and is it one nation or is it two nations? Like, if you
Right.
look at the Constitution, it was meant for one group of people, and that
Mhm.
was Caucasian men who had money, who owned property. That was
Right.
the original Constitution. Then they made amendments, and an amendment means just to make room for. So then they
Mhm.
made room for these amendments that they put in, and then they said, okay, we'll give black people we'll give you your citizenship, but you have to be subject of the United States and under its
Mhm.
jurisdiction. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, but the original people of the Constitution don't have to be under the jurisdiction of the United States to get their citizenship.
This is true.
So there, you probably heard about this before. There's two different classes of citizen. There's a first class citizen. There's a second class citizen, which blacks have been placed under. You know what I mean? But then there's also court cases. I forgot this court case, man, but it was in the state of Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln defended this Moorish brother, and they used the word Moor. It was
Huh?
distinctly used in this case to separate the brother from being black. He said, "I'm a Moor." This is like in 1860 or 70 something, when Lincoln was alive. He was the brother's attorney, and it said, though his skin may be dark, he is not a Negro. He's a Moor. So he
Right.
deserves all the full rights of a first class citizen of the United States. He's not to be treated differently because, well, back then, only the North was free. So, but still, they had discrimination laws against in the North too. It wasn't like they just loved us up there. So, but legally, he had the right to own land, because
Right.
he was married to a Caucasian woman, right?
Mhm.
And they loved each other. I don't know if they had children or not, but but his brother-in-law said that nigga can't own no land. He's a nigga.
Right.
He's a nigga.
Right.
And the dude's like, no, I'm a Moor. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, right. You're a nigga. You're a nigga.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Yeah, right. So he knew he was a Moor, so he took it to court. Got Abraham Lincoln to be his lawyer. Abraham Lincoln won the case for him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
So,
So
to,
this
to,
mentality that black people have, that, oh, the white man ain't gonna let us do nothing. It's not up
mhm.
to him to let you do something,
You do anything.
right? It's
You
up to
have to choose
you,
to be.
right?
You have to choose to be these things. And
Right.
like the breakdown of the first class and second class citizen. Okay. The true meaning of that, there is what they call a corporate citizen, and the employee. This goes back to Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
You can either choose to become a corporate citizen and operate on the corporate level, which gives you all these first class citizenship. Uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives you all these first class citizen opportunities and gifts, and some different. You know, you get that, or you could choose to be the employees, the servitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's choosing to step into the game. When you opt into just being a citizen, you're opting in to continue to be this populist commodity. That's all the second class citizens. You're cattle. You're choosing
Mm-hmm.
to be the cattle. You're choosing to be the value that the dollar is actually backed upon. When you
Right.
choose to be a corporate citizen, you step into the realm of I'm above the dollar. You can't count me in the dollar segment. I'm a purveyor of commodity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm playing the big boy nation game. I'm playing the macroeconomic game. I'm not like this is where land ownership can't. This when you break it down, this is where the land ownership came from. Him owning the land was him owning a commodity.
Commodity. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
didn't want your dollar.
It's
He
still
didn't
like
want
that.
your right. He didn't want your dollar.
Right, right. He want the land.
I want the land. I
Right.
want the commodity.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Don't count me amongst those that you could just give a dollar to.
Right. I don't work
And
for.
they can say,
Right. Didn't Robert
right,
Kiyosaki say, "I don't work for money"?
right.
He said in the book, he said, "I don't work for money.
I don't work for money.
I don't work for a paycheck." You know.
Right.
Yeah. He's like,
I don't. I
I
don't
work
want this
to.
meaningless bill. This meaningless currency that you get. I want to play the game of the God given resources, and I understand the level of this game. So you can't count me amongst those who don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in these day and times. That's the separation. You can either choose to step up and become what they call a corporate citizen,
Mm-hmm.
or you could choose to just be a spectator and continue to be counted amongst the populace. The
Right.
GDP, the stock market, the numbers that you see going by, those numbers, people don't understand what those numbers are when they come across the screen, when they see the stock market and they're like, oh, the market is up or the market is down. That market is not just commodities being bought and sold. People need to
Mm-hmm.
understand that
Mm-hmm.
they are truly still selling the people, the populace, the value of on the stock market. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, melanated man, white man, Mexican man, whatever you identify as, Latino man, whatever you identify yourself as, yes, you are still being bought and sold on the market. Yes, you are.
Right. Right. Right.
It still hasn't been. You might not be physically standing there in chains, standing on top of that wooden box with the chain around your neck, and them.
It's worse now, though.
Yeah,
It's worse now
yeah.
because at
Because now
least the
you're being
slave.
bought and sold right up under your nose
Right.
for whatever value that you're being bought and sold every day.
Right. Right. Yeah, because one comparison, the slavery days versus now. I mean, we still in slavery days. If you're a debt slave, I mean, that's still a slave, and
Mm-hmm.
at least the the master had to give you a place to eat. I mean, a place to sleep, eat,
Mm-hmm.
a place to bathe.
Right.
I'm not saying he's a totally righteous being, but he had to do. Now he ain't got to take care of you at
Tell
all,
you what else.
at
He can
all.
still go and sell you, and regardless of what state are you in. You can be homeless. You still bought and sold.
Right, right, yeah. So it's worse now because I started think I was watching the video, but anyway, it was talking about mortgages like in China.
Mm-hmm.
People are spending 75% of their income on mortgage. That's just
Mm-hmm.
mortgage, not even electricity, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I think it's about the same out here now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, if you buy a house for 500,000 with compound interest, you're gonna pay like 1.6 if you ever pay that off.
Right.
And you got to pay for electricity, property
Mm-hmm.
taxes. You are that if that's not pimping, I don't know what is. That's pimping. That's worse. Hey, that's worse than what brothers are do to sisters on the street. I mean, these
Right.
banks are pimping. If you look
Yeah.
at the
Human
numbers,
trafficking. Yes.
you are
Human
being
trafficking.
pimped.
Mm-hmm. Human trafficking is still happening right in your face.
Yeah, yeah,
Right in
yep,
your face.
yeah,
The definition of is such more broader than what people think. Is human trafficking is not a bunch of human beings, because that happens as well. They show you examples of people being brought in on in trailers or on trucks or being smuggled country to country and this, that, and third.
yeah,
Human trafficking is happening in your banks. It's happening
yeah,
in your
yeah,
society.
yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It's happening every day in
That's
every state.
mm-hmm.
Every citizen, you're being human trafficked.
That's right. When you're an employee, you kind of feel like you're
Yeah.
being humanly trapped.
You,
Human resources.
yeah.
You are a resource for that
You're a
company.
resource.
Yeah,
You're
you're a
being human trafficked no matter where you go, no
right,
matter what job you decide to apply for, no matter what you do. You're playing the game of choosing to be the populace that is counted on the GDP.
mm, yeah, yeah. That's true. Very true, brother.
You're spending your every waking day chasing the currency, not the commodity. And
Right,
you wonder
right,
why you can't get off this hamster wheel.
right,
Step
right.
off. It's so simple. Step off.
Yeah, step off of it. Got to take a chance.
Right.
You gotta shift your thinking, man. To
Yes.
like you said, thinking about commodities is, and if you do get currency, use it to get a commodity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that keeps constant currency coming in, and you
Coming
just keep
in.
and you use the currency to buy more
More
commodities,
commodities
right?
and assets. Right.
Right, man. Yeah, man.
And
Because I
before you
remember
know it,
before I bought the land, I got different pieces of land out here in Arizona, and I bought when I had some money, I bought a 100 ounce silver bullion bar.
mm-hmm.
I bought it. I think I bought it when it was like $19 an ounce, and I paid over spot for it too.
Okay.
Now silver is like at 26, 20, something like 26,
Right.
25, and it is as long as they keep printing dollars, the commodity keep going up.
Going up.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's being manipulated. Because they got these. What did not Jim Rogers? It was another guy, a financial guru. He said the gold price, and Peter Schiff. He said the gold price should be like $50,000 an ounce because they
Mm-hmm.
printed so much money, and gold this pretty much tracks how many dollars are in circulation. So the more dollars you put out, the gold is always the same value, but the amount of dollars now it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold also goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And silver and platinum and palladium and those things too. So the
Mm-hmm.
price is actually being manipulated because I think the central banks they'll they'll act like they sell the gold, but they sell it to like a leasing holding company
Mm-hmm.
and they act like it's being sold. So when you sell something, the price will go down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not really being sold, it's just being leased.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, they mastered the game of making the commodity make more money based off the value of the populace, which is why the dollar will always be lesser in value than actual God resource. This is what
hmm
Anytime your currency is backed by the populace and not an actual God-given resource, this is why we have the system that's in play today. This is why we're going through these problems that we're having today with inflation and things of that nature. Our currency is not backed by a commodity.
right.
Backed by It's backed by the value of the people, the billions of the United States citizens. They get up and go to work every day. These things hold no true value because you can get up and go to work today, and then what if you injure yourself on the job? Now you can't work.
Nah, you can't work. Yeah.
All these things come into play when you're trying to assess the real value of the dollar. The millions of those who actually go out and are successful versus those who are quote unquote not successful, and then you have to estimate the value of that flow, that work for that currency.
hmm
It's you have to come up with a number that evens the playing field for all of those who can versus all of those who can't,
Right, 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 right.
which is what creates the fluctuation.
Right.
So
You get into
as
scarcity
right,
and things like that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Now with that being said, you begin to understand that saying that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
hmm
This is why these sayings exist in the American community, because there is a percentage of us who don't understand the true value of the currency that we use every day, and
Mm.
how how that really affects us individually, wholly, as
Right,
a
right, right.
community, as a
That,
society. It doesn't just affect you individually; it affects us as a whole as well.
hmm hmm Now let me stop you right there. Where if somebody was interested in in what you're saying and is willing to pay for certain information, that they hold that they think you hold valuable for them to change their life financially. Is there somewhere where they can reach you, like a email? You got a public number you can put out there, where
Yeah.
somebody listening to this can be able to contact you?
Yes. I have an email and I have a number. Um,
Okay,
my
I'll
number.
put it in the show notes too.
Okay. My number is 916 area code 279-5377, and
Okay,
I provide financial consultations. I do consulting.
okay,
Um, I help people understand how to properly structure the LLC. You know,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, I teach people how to begin to look towards trust,
Yes, that's the key.
creating trust.
That's the key. Yeah.
That's a key. Trust law, like I said, in the country that's built on business law, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us don't understand business law. We come into situations where we're dealing with what they call civil law. If you get into the Moor sciences, they'll begin to teach you about maritime law
Right.
and things of that nature. But nobody
How to operate a
understands.
company.
Right. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
understands really what business law is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're living in a country that is solely structured on business law.
Right. Facilitating business constantly. Yeah.
It's constantly.
Mm-hmm.
This country is built on business law.
That's why everybody come here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The education system is built on business law. Your religious system is built on business law. The food system, the produce, the grocery store, all these things are built on business law. Going to college is built on business law. That's why you got to sign these contracts and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. That's why you owe these student loans once you graduate. All of that is wrapped around and built around
Business.
business law.
Right. And that's why you need to be protected too. Legally in
Exactly.
business. Right.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the realm that they try to hide from us.
Right.
They operate
Right.
in business law and leave us to the other frivolous laws that we're tied into.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
carefree. They wake
Mm-hmm.
up carefree. Because like I said, your president wakes up and he thinks about commodities. He don't think about dollars.
Right. Or you think about oil, gold.
Right.
Yeah. Drugs, because
Right.
CIA be dealing drugs and the feds.
Drugs,
So,
right. And I always gotta say, if you follow the money, you'll naturally begin to understand what's really going on in the world. Money,
mm-hmm.
the money trail doesn't lie. It's a war going on. I don't know if YouTube allows us to speak upon it or whatever, but the Ukraine situation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we forget that Biden's son owned a corporation in Ukraine,
Right. Oh, I
which
haven't
is why,
forgot. I haven't
right,
forgot. Yeah.
which is why Biden sent those funds over to Ukraine
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to help them fight against Russia. There was a commodity interest in that country. It wasn't a dollar interest. There was a commodity interest
Right.
in that. His son was there obtaining commodities,
Right. Right. Right.
which is why Russia is fighting Ukraine in the first place. It's for a commodity.
Yeah, that land. And I suppose that Russia said they say they're fighting for people who they say they are Russian. The people see themselves as Russian, and there's some political stuff going on. But the United States wants the commodity, and they want to bring Russia to his knees to take their commodities.
Mm-hmm. It's all about commodities.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wars are
That's
fought
right.
over commodities. It's never fought over currency. It's always over who controls what commodities.
Mm-hmm. And
So
we don't have enough here. As
right,
so-called black people don't have enough commodities here.
right. We don't hold nothing. We haven't been obtained for the last 40, 50 years. We haven't we
Really attain much as far as commodities.
They destroyed. See, people forget they destroyed Black Wall Street because we were obtaining commodities.
Right. Yeah. They didn't
It
like
wasn't
that.
because we was obtaining dollars and people were becoming billionaires, and they were doing something with those dollars. They were taking their dollars and obtaining commodities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what those people were doing. This is how Black Wall Street was even created. They began to have the mindset of we need to obtain commodities.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Any successful Black community in history that was ever destroyed, that was ever laid upon, that was ever besieged upon
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
by our colonizing brothers and sisters, it was solely seized upon because that community was beginning to obtain commodities. It was never. You can have all the billions that you want. They don't care about the currency. The moment you begin to start to obtain the commodities, that's when the eyeballs change.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They can see what you're doing.
That's when the eyeballs change. That's when the threat is there. Because now it's like, hold on, wait. Who invited you to the table?
Right. 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 But
Who
I
invited
think,
you to the table?
when we do, because we're gonna do it too, man. We're gonna do it, and I think a lot of Caucasians may have a lack of respect because they're so used to controlling the rich Black man. You know,
Yes.
the guy in entertainment, the guy who plays basketball. They're used to controlling people like that. Now, when you're not really in a system and you're doing your thing for your own people, and you become powerful, I don't think we politically reach out to the Caucasian. You got to make some deals happen. I mean,
Yes.
you know, I don't think Dr. York did that. I don't think what other leaders that held name. Well, Elijah Muhammad did it. Elijah Muhammad had he was hanging with a lot of Caucasian dudes who had power. That's how they lasted so long. I think, but the real brothers like Khalid Muhammad, you know, people who are real freedom fighters, you know, true leaders in every sense of the word. They might sometimes you got to do deals with the enemy, do deals with people you don't like. I mean, in business, you have to do it all the time.
Exactly.
You know, you got to do deals with people you don't like, and
Exactly. It's called gaining allies.
gain an ally. Yeah, you can learn to be friends. You might hate each other, but if you
Yes.
guys make your business pop, you guys are going to start to like each other.
Exactly.
You're going to depend on each other for each other's survival.
Exactly.
And it won't matter what race you are. You know what I mean? Because my dad told me another thing. He told me, he said, He said, son, I don't care what race somebody is. He's all, if you attain the skills and the trade that somebody needs in the market, they gonna hire you.
Exactly.
And they're gonna pay you well because you're
Exactly.
good at what you do. They're not gonna care what race you are.
Exactly. And that's true. That is so true. We can't allow ourselves to stay trapped in this Pandora's box. Once again, division is a tool that is being used. And when you allow yourself to succumb to that divided mindset, we will continue to fall. Everybody on this planet,
Right.
we're all God's children. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Creator in the first place. No, none of us would be here had God not created. So when you play the race card, either like the Nation of Islam, it comes to mind when the brothers would teach the white man is the devil and this, that, and the third. No, the devil is the devil. The devil has no color.
Right, absolutely.
I know black devils, or the melanated devils. I know white devils. I know
Chinese
Mexican
devils.
I know,
the
devil is the devil.
Right. The devil's not a person anyway, it's energy.
Right. Yeah. He has devilish ways.
Right.
So either you could choose to be a righteous being, regardless of what race you are. The moment you step into the race realm, you're playing the devil's game. You're playing the separation game. We have to get out of the separation game and begin to focus our energy on what we're placed here to do.
Right. It's not so much hating them or trying to separate from them, but it's more like loving ourselves and coming together ourselves. Stop
Yes.
worrying about the white man and what he's doing. You
Man, the
know,
white man.
people will call the nation. I remember this dude from New York. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's like, oh, what about the white man? And I'm on. You act like when you sitting in your house, the white man gonna walk through that wall and enter your
Right.
brain. He ain't that powerful, brother. I mean, I mean, he's done his things. Everybody done some treacherous things. I mean, look, he won the war over
Right.
here against us. Hey, let's just. We fought against them too. I don't think the story they tell is totally true. Matter of fact, I know it's
Hmm.
not. But
Hmm.
it seems that they won the war. Now we got to do the best of what we got to continue to fight for our people. But it's not really
Exactly.
about fighting him. It's about loving yourself.
Self unifying ourselves, and honestly,
Mm-hmm.
China has given us the greatest example of that.
Mm, mm, mm-hmm.
China gave us the great. When you look at the country called China, the colonizers came through, ravaged the land.
Yeah, they
Okay,
sure did.
they ravaged the land. They placed drugs in the land. There was a big open. Like it's a sentence. History repeats itself.
Yeah.
We have an opium pandemic going on in the United States right now. China at one time had, and possibly still has, an opium pandemic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and when the colonizer came in trying to destroy, they systematically created something that rose the people up, rose the love of self up, rose
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
understanding of self up, and as a whole, they have an economic understanding. The
Mm-hmm.
Chinese, the Asian man still operates in this run. Even when he comes over to America, you still have Asians here sending money back home.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Teaching their kids Chinese and whatever. They don't want them to
Right,
lose their culture.
right. They never allow themselves to play the colonizer's game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
this is why they were able to raise up into the economic power that they are today. They began to focus on their economics. And what does that mean for them? They didn't allow themselves to fall privy to the currency game. Being
Right. Right.
chasing the scraps that you're giving me from the table.
Right. Right.
They
Exactly.
began focusing on gaining, obtaining commodities, creating commodities, producing commodities.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could produce anything and sell it internationally. We're
That's
not
right.
stuck. We're
That's
not
right.
stuck in the United States marketplace in anything that we do. If you're a farmer right now and you're growing fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, yeah, you go to the farmer's market and you might sell your fruit to the community, to the public. But do you know China needs grapes?
Yeah.
China needs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Africans need grapes.
Right. Right.
Africans need honey. If you're a honeybee farmer, you can sell your honey internet. You're not stuck selling honey in the United States. You can sell honey to Greece. You can sell honey to Italy. You can sell honey to.
Yeah. It's an international market.
It's an international market. The moment you delve into commodities, you're on the international level.
Mm-hmm.
Any commodity that you hold and control, guess what? Another ally needs your commodity
Right. Right.
and will
Yeah. That's
gladly
true.
pay you for this commodity, will gladly help you be able to produce this commodity by more bulk, by more value, to be able to buy more from you.
Right. 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 Yeah. I mean, you gotta realize the markets that are out there. I mean, it's the whole world is a market. You know what I
It's a
mean?
market. The whole
Yeah.
world is a market. The
Mm-hmm.
whole world itself is a market. We all need each other for something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One person can't do it all. One nation don't do it all.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all need each other for something. You look around, you see a lot of Asian cars out here, Lexus, Mitsubishi, Kia, and things of that nature. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? Cadillac sell in China. You know, like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Chevrolet sell as well. Like they don't just because we're able to drive these vehicles that we see when you go to other countries, these cars are bought and sold there as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to Dubai, you'll see the Rolls Royce, you'll see a Bentley, you'll see all these same cars that you see here in America.
Right. 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 Right.
You know, but for some reason we're stuck in this realm of nothing is beyond America. And there's wake up,
Yeah.
there's a whole globe for you. We have God gave us the whole globe. He didn't just give us the little block, the little corner that you live on, the little street, the little zip
Yeah.
code that
Yeah.
you know.
He gave you the ability to travel.
He gave us the whole world, and he gave us God given resources.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You
And
know.
it's funny how these same resources outlast the people themselves. These resources gonna be here. There are millions and billions who have came and went, and these resources was here. You know,
Right.
gold was here during Pharaoh's time. Silver,
That's right.
diamond, all these same resources was here during thousands and millions. Like they've always been here. These resources are going nowhere. Man comes and goes.
Right. 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 Yep. That's why you need to put things in trust.
Exactly.
Yeah. The trust will keep going.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, a lot of people don't know too, like business law. Trust, the word trust and the whole theme of trust law is geared around God's law. That's why they
Mm.
honor it. That's why they live. That's why they live. That's why the billionaires, they create trust and they have trust fund children, trust fund babies and things. They they operate in a completely different economical realm
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
than we operate in, because we choose not to learn these things, or we choose to. For some of us, these they don't even. A lot of people hearing this possibly never even heard of the trust. Don't even know how to
Yeah.
begin
Yeah.
to create one and things of that. And that's the thing. There is information out there to teach you these things.
Mm-hmm.
But trust law is one of the most honored laws in the land because it's God's law. Trust law is built around God's law. It's built around the understanding that these commodities, these natural God-given resources are God-given.
Mm-hmm.
They don't belong to you. They're going to be here long after you're gone.
Right. 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 That's true. But but yeah, man, let's wrap it up. We've been on the line for hour and 47 minutes.
Man,
Nah,
you
it's okay.
know,
It's a lot of information, to
hey,
get out
yeah,
there.
man, this topic I could speak on for hours. Like I could speak on it for hours. I could go for days. I have you on here for months because like it's needed. We
Right.
need to walk in this realm. We need to turn that switch on in our minds to give up looking at the currency that they dangle in our faces every day when we wake up, and we need to shift towards the God-given resources. We need to focus on what God gave us, not what man is giving you.
Mm-hmm.
We need to not continue to accept these scraps.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we need to just stop being satisfied depending on the government. There's
Mm-hmm.
too much of us that depend on local services and then complain when we don't get what we want. I mean, they're not
Exactly.
really giving you much anyway. They're giving you scraps and pennies. You happy with that?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So, you know, but it is what it is, man. We gonna sign off. This is Right Knowledge Radio. It's your host Tutashima Hirokayu, and I hope y'all enjoyed all the financial discussion that me and the brother had. And I will put his information in the show notes. He's also the Ministry of Business and Commerce for the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. And brother, I'll let you have the last word before we end the show.
If nothing else, to take away from this understanding, this topic that we're speaking upon. Macroeconomics. Macroeconomics. Understand what it is. Begin to teach it in your homes. We have to get off the micro level. We have to begin to operate as a nation. If we want to be recognized as a nation, as a culture, if we want these powers, these freedoms, we want to be this first class, quote unquote, citizen, we have to play the game. We have to play the commodity game. We have to get into commodities, our God-given resources. We have to learn how to turn our currency into a God-given resource that we control. And these are the beginning steps. This is where our freedom comes. This is where the respect in the community comes. When we begin to operate on that level, when we begin to no longer choose to spectate, and we jump into the macroeconomics, it'll be a shift. It'll be a shift in understanding. It'll be a shift in power. It'll be a shift in the word, quote unquote, freedom.
Absolutely.
Macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is the key.
So that's what we need to think about. Macroeconomics.
Macroeconomics is the key.
Okay. And Wadu, we out.
I do.